apologies beforehand. My voice is shot, so I might be spraying my throat with my back turned to you because I won't be able to keep this up for like 30 minutes. I prepared a thank you note for Arif, but he's not there because he bailed. So it's just me, so I'm going to be whispering. I was thinking of getting a little ASMR ear microphone, in line with streamers, but I didn't find one, so I'm just stuck with this boring thing. Sorry. So yeah, beg, bribe, or blackmail, how we get those magical unicorns to play your games. So easiest way to do, you can just do a party like yesterday. That's it. Thank you for the talk. There we go. Obligatory plugs. So yes, Neon Doctrine, international publisher based in Taiwan, Singapore, and a few other countries, but worldwide, PC, Steam, doing the good stuff with horror games, hopefully. And here's a big narcissistic picture of myself. So I've been doing this for over a decade. We started it 10 plus years ago in China when we first were bringing Chinese game to the West and then Western games into China. This was way before they had any PC or console games, so it was just mobile. We were the first one to start it. Everybody told us we were a bunch of, not so smart people and we should be doing it. Turns out we were right, not necessarily smart, but we were right, so it all worked out, and now China's booming, and we were there when it all first happened. Lost Castle was the first one, actually. So yeah, we launched a bunch of the game. They all did pretty good, apparently. The developers still like us and still want to work with us. Yeah, that's it. Enough of looking at my Photoshop face. Huge contrast, right? So yeah, this is gonna be a little bit of a surface level talk, because if you want to do like deep dives into how to work with streamers and influencers, it's gonna take quite a long time. So I'll probably do maybe like 15-20 minutes talk, and then we'll just go to Q&A, because I assume if you want to work with streamers, you probably have some questions how to approach them in various situations, and especially if it's like different games you guys are working on, it can be different ways to talk to them. So the easiest one, because there's a few options you actually have. One is you utilize the platforms, and then another options you hire somebody like an agency or a PR company to do it for you, or you hire internally and have a person in your company deal with it. So we'll just go over those three surface ones and some other little tidbits regarding the community. So yeah, for platforms, here's a few examples. There's a lot more out there doing similar things. So for example, one is drop.me. This one is more tailored to smaller and micro influencers. So if you have tighter budgets, so you can do it with like a few hundred, a few $1,000s. But the thing is, the way we set up the payment systems, a lot of the influencers and streamers on that platform are from South America. So you would want to make sure that your game has Brazilian Portuguese when we're using that one. There's people from US and Europe as well, but mostly it's still South America. But that one's a really good one, easy to manage. You kind of like set up your campaign, push and distribute keys automatically, and then you can verify all the stats and send the tips and the payments to the influencers through it, and get all the Twitch stats breakdowns and everything. So that one's pretty easy to set up and pretty fast to push out for kind of like smaller updates, things like that. Then another one is Lurkit, which is a decent one, very analytically heavy platform. And that one is a monthly basis campaign with additional costs to pay if you want to set up special quest campaigns or scavenger hunts or things like that. But the issue with Lurkit is, although it's pretty good, you would need to have a dedicated person on your team handling it, because it's a lot of back-end work, and their back-end is a little bit slow, so pages load a little bit slow, so a little bit annoying. And the thing with them is the company is really great, but the efficiency will depend on what type of product manager gets assigned to your case. So there's a lot of churn and burnout. So if it's a dedicated person, your campaigns will do very good, but sometimes some people went on holiday mid-campaign, and then stuff went out at the wrong time and kind of didn't work out. But then other times it's pretty good. So it really depends who's handling your cases. But yeah, with this one, you would need to have a dedicated person on your team handling everything because it's a lot of micromanagement. But they have the analytics still. Sorry. The analytics tool will show you also your competitors, so you can actually track trends in all those little tiny bits. So if your guy or girl is very into like data-driven approach, this one works pretty good. Airdrop is another one, decent one, but this one is on a higher budget. So their campaigns normally start about like 10,000 US, but you can kind of split it maybe in 2 games for 5,000 each. Really depends. So they do both Twitch, YouTube Shorts on YouTube, and also TikToks. For Twitch, the way they function is you give them the money and then they source the influencers, etc., that fit your game and your campaign. But they set up they call it drops, but it's kind of like quest challenges. So they set up 10, 15, 20 challenges streamers need to complete on stream, and then they get prizes in return from you, whether it's like social media shout out and like special role in Discord, or like some Steam keys or some Steam credit or some plushie, pretty much whatever loot you want to give them, you can use that. So they do all the work for you. So you just kind of give them the money, give them the keys, and they do everything. That one's also kind of, it's pretty good, but quite expensive. It doesn't work for every game, so if you're working on a smaller game, this doesn't really make sense. It's more like a mid-level, mid-tier AA titles, just because if you want to get best results, like 10,000 is not quite enough to get out of them, so you probably would want to do maybe like $30,000, $40,000 campaigns, which is quite a lot of money for indie developers. But they're here just in case you get that sweet publisher money looking at you, Sam, or me. So they can help you run it. So that was pretty good, but expensive as always. Okay, so here's a bit about tracking tools. So this is if you want to have somebody internally handle all your influencer and streamer approach. So there's a bunch of them. There's like stream charts, so you can go and see like the streamers, similar streamers, streaming what game, what genre, what's similar to you, what works, how long they stream, how many people in the chat, how many talkers, how many concurrents, how many bots, because that's a thing, of course. Twitch tracker, Solidno, like all of these websites do pretty much the same stuff. Half of the time, half of them are down, so you can just keep swapping depending which one works, but tool-wise, they're all the same. And some of them have subscriptions to unlock extra analytics. Don't really need that stuff. And then if you're doing it yourself and you don't want to use any platforms, you'll have to use an Excel sheet. It sucks. I'm sorry, but that's the way to do it. It's most efficient. So this is an example, for example, what we use internally. So it's like name, platform, content type, main channel, followers, average views, email, social, language, outreach status, paid, free, interested with us, etc. So you can add a bunch of these tabs and we can keep tracking with this one. Problem with this one is if you're doing it alone, if it's a person on your team, they have to be on top of it. So you have to be in those streams, interacting with the streamers. You would want to do that anyways, but with this one, you have to be in the loop, plugged into the system because the burn rate is pretty high. So the streamers that were popular or active, especially if it's like micro streamers or like mid-level, in 3 months, they might have quit or they're not doing it anymore. And there's like other people coming to replace it. So it takes a lot of time and effort to actually keep all of this updated. But if you do, it's very worthwhile. But it's a lot of work because just the community keeps swapping. So like every several months, like half of the people are not there anymore. There's new ones that need to start rebuilding those relationships with the streamers again. Which brings us to the agencies part. It was supposed to be Discord, but now it's agencies. So with agencies, also if you want to spend money, you don't want to deal with it yourself-ish, you can work with various agencies. And here's a few that we work with that are pretty good as well. Disobey is great, so they can handle like influencer outreach, TikTok creation, YouTube Shorts, YouTube themselves. So they pretty much do everything for you. They set up the campaigns, they monitor, they talk to streamers, they do everything. You just pay them. Same with Streamers Connected. They're the kind of the same beast. The issue with the agencies, though, even though you just pay them, you show them the game, tell them what you want to do, you still need somebody on your team to lead the charge, because they're kind of like there to speak, but you need the one to kind of like direct the spear or trebuchet or whatever allegory you want to use, because otherwise they can just go haywire and do whatever, and it doesn't make sense. So you need to direct them towards your goal, what you want to achieve. I also added Cameo here just for laughs. It's a platform where you have all their actors or internet personalities. You can go there, pay them some money, and they can do like some little clips or promos for you. So here's a little funny story. You guys probably know it. It's from New Blood and Dave and Bam Margera. So this was a few years ago when they were launching, I believe it was Ultra Kill. So in Cameo, they hired Bam Margera. I don't know if you guys know, it's like an old school skater from Jackass days back in the late 90s, early 2000. Guy had a rough life after his friend died, so he ended up in rehab. So he did the video in rehab, and he was like, "Oh, this is Bam Margera, whoa, Ultra Kill's coming out, awesome, like a 30-second video." He did the video, they posted the video, and the dude ran away from rehab on the same day. So that stuff went viral. I mean, you can't plan for it, but he ran away, and then they caught him like 2 days later. But yeah, it was everywhere. It was like, "Oh no, publisher pays Bam to do this," and then he's like out of rehab and doing all sorts of crazy stuff, and like, "Oh, but this game is coming out," so he got covered like Vice, Vanity Fair, all of those like big publications. And they was like, all right. And then he did the same thing with Anthony Hopkins, which was like he hired Anthony Hopkins to explain the players to be patient because one of their updates got delayed. So he did that in a very Hannibal Lecter voice. So that worked very well as well. So yeah, you can do this for like this one to try to achieve like some weird virality moments. And it can be quite inexpensive, especially if you do like B-list level older actors. Now, one thing to watch out for is there's also a lot of PR agencies that, besides offering like PR, they also offer influencer services. Now that one is you gotta get canceled first, but yes, that was pretty bad because most of them are really good with PR, press, and media, but are pretty terrible when it comes to influencers. So they will charge you a high price, and then they will ask you for more money to use like sponsorship money for the streamers, but most of the time they don't really know what they're doing when it comes to streamers. So you just end up burning for your money. You'll be like, we couldn't get any coverage, but hey, we got your own, PC Gamer or whatever, which is really, really good. But for the influencers, they're not that great. So when you're working with PR agencies, just work with them on PR. Same principle applies. If you do PR agencies, you need somebody to drive them to do things. Otherwise, they just, send out the press release and take $10,000 a month, and then that's it. So yeah, watch out for that. Just don't. I would advise against doing influencer support via PR agencies. Just go with the ones that actually do influencer stuff. And yeah, this was supposed to be the Discord, and that's my cat there, very little beast. I lost my trail of thought. Right. Yeah, this brings us back to actually keeping them engaged, because the influencers, as we old people like to say, it's attention deficit generation, right? So you need to give them that dopamine hit. I hope there's no influencers in the crowd right now. If no, you're most welcome. You're welcome for all the food and party from yesterday. Anyways, so you can set up like your creator club or whatever you want to call it on Discord, or Discord sells out finally. We're gonna move to Killed It. Look that up. Bookmark your name for your company. So you set it up, and then key requests, for collaborations, giveaways, assets, etc. Whatever you want to do, and you have to keep that stuff active. Like you can always send out an email blast, put them in your Discord, but if you don't talk to them or give them things to do or games to play or some incentive to still talk to each other or talk to you in the server, they're just gonna forget it, because let's be honest, everybody's like 200 Discord servers and like 99 of them are all on mute and nobody's ever looking at them anymore. So you can set this all up, but you need to keep them engaged. So ideally, I would say like give them something to do every 2 weeks, check in on their streams every time they post that they go live or they share clips, like go there, interact, comment, like retweet, or take the links and do organic tweets or whatever it's called now on your X, Reddit, Blue Sky, what social media you use. So you need to keep them engaged, otherwise they're just going to forget and move on, because everybody's doing the same thing, right? There's no magic formula, unfortunately. So make sure they're always something, like whether it's game keys or giveaways or just server activities, and join their streams. One thing that out of all this talk, it all boils down to you actually participating with them, talking to them, and being in the streams, and throwing those bits as well as subs. And also you can bribe them with free stuff. So what we did is, every time we have like a physical thing we do for our games, whether it's mats. Keep forgetting the name for that. I know the inappropriate name, but silicone gel wrist supports, mouse supports, physical copies of the game, like special press kits, press boxes for them with like little goodies and stuff that really connect with the game, right? With bracket stuff. So you send that out, and again, it helps you build loyalty with them. Because not many people do this, besides like AAAs. But AAAs usually do that for all the big guys, which in all honesty, they're not going to be playing indie games, except maybe Markiplier. But mid-level ones, and especially the ones with less following or micro-influencers, if you do this, they're going to be like sold. That's it. They'll go tell their other streamer friends, and they will help you build the following. So if you have like free stuff you can give, I know not everybody does, this thing goes a long way, and it helps out building that, don't like it called brand loyalty, but like community spirit, right? But of course, it's a tricky one to do. But fortunately, manufacturing is cheap, and we're not living in America, so thank God for that. And this just brings back to everything I said. It all boils down to genuine interaction. So if you just use the platforms or like Keymailer or something, and just blast press releases or just send them keys or hire somebody to do it for you, or use any other alternatives I mentioned, and then that's it, you're out. Like it's not going to last. You're just going to blow through your money, spend time, but it's not sustainable because you will have to redo it every single time, and you'll have to start from scratch. So you do want to keep them engaged, talk to them, participate with them in their activities, whether you do like stream nights or whatever, or if you see them at events as well, invite them to the parties or make a party for them, even better. Like the marketing beat we use in our marketing talks, make them feel like a hero, right? Make them feel like a hero of their own story. And you're like a supporting character, so you're helping them on their journey to be a successful streamer. You're providing them super secret access to your gameplay demos. They are the only ones the group of them or the particular person, the only one who gets to see like this exclusive gameplay feature that we didn't put publicly on Steam Next Fest. That line of thinking that you want them to feel special, and everybody wants to feel special. So again, and personalized outreach. Don't just like write a blank email and just blast it to like 200 people. Also, don't do that when you're pitching to publishers. Please don't. All right, so more or less 20-25 minutes. So I figured I'll just leave QA to the end in case you have some particular questions you want to ask about your situations or your games or anything you have in mind. Because, like I said, it's very surface level because there's not enough time. But if you want to do a deep dive, it will take a long time. And you can follow me on Shitter and Blue Sky. It's all the same. Studies, Discord, or you can email me, Vlad, and Doctrine, whether it's influencers or publishing or marketing or I don't know, anything gaming industry wise. Jude's not here as well. I can't make fun of him about him making fun of me of being drunk all the time. It's swear to God. Okay.
Let's move to the Q&A session.
Just doing a thing for you now.
So if you guys have any question, please just raise up your hand and I'll come to you and give the mic.
Oh no. Before Sam asks the question, I just want to say that we, Neon Doctrine, were the first one to do the purple pinkish branding, not critical reflex. Thank you very much. Also, before Exola did it with their socks. Thank you for the socks. Yeah, sorry, Sam.
Thanks for the talk, Vlad. Wanted to know your opinion on paying for high-value streamers versus working with a lot of smaller indie streamers. Like, do you use a mixture of both, or do you prefer one or the other?
Oh, yeah, so actually, thank you for that. I totally forgot to mention like a very important thing throughout my talk. Do your research, because if it makes sense, you can pay for high-value streamers, but you need to make sure that their community is actually interested in the type of game you want them to work on, stream. Because if they're only primarily streaming, let's say, wholesome games, right, and they have a very active community, if we give them something like mouthwashing, it's probably not going to convert very well. So again, it's just like goes back to the same with pitching to publishers. Just make sure you do your research to make it worthwhile, that it makes sense with their community. You also have if it's high-value streamers, you also need to do a deeper dive in their viewership to see that do they actually buy stuff, or are they just there blah 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 blah. So normally with that, you ask them for the conversion rate they have, so you can see like how much people click on links and how much of that goes to Steam. They already have the tools for that to actually track purchases. But again, to answer your question, it really depends on your budget. And when you want to do it. Because if you want to do it like a big high hit for launch, you can, especially if these high paying streamers are part of a streamer collective or group, because usually they will also have a smaller cult following of mid-tier to smaller streamers. It's kind of like trickle down effect. I also wanted to give a special shout out to my very close friend and comrade Arif for his awesome feedback to this talk on Gamescom last year. I didn't use any of your feedback. Thank you. There we go. It's so red now, almost like our logo. Awesome. So it all comes down to the research and then the amount of money you can spend and what type of high-level streamers you're looking for. Ideally, you want a mix of both. But if you want to like throw like $100,000 on a big streamer, I'm sure you guys can put away like $5,000 to spend on like micro-influencers and the smaller ones.
Thank you.
Any more questions? I sprayed my throat for this, please.
Hi. So if you are a small indie developer, let's say, at what point in your game do you think like I should start thinking of people to show this to?
Oh, okay. So that's like already a marketing question type of thing. If in the current landscape that we are dealing with, like ideally your dev cycle would be like year and a half max. So when you start marketing your game, you at least minimally 8 months before launch. So when you want to make it playable, you have to make sure you have a good demo. So I'd say it's about vertical slice-ish, maybe like 30-40% of your build, which is playable, or at least kind of showcases a full core loop of the mechanics. Doesn't have to be all of the mechanics, that's like more a publisher thing, but for them, at least if they're closed, like first level or the first like hour, 30 minutes of the game, depending how big your game is. And of course, you would ideally want to time it with releasing your demo on Steam, because now people treat it as a mini launch with all the reviews and etc. and next some promotions, and you can also time it with playtest. And then you kind of like bounce it into the Steam next. So I would say maybe it's like 5-6 months you can do it before release if you have the development capacity to make a really good demo. If you don't, then focus on polishing your game and send like private builds to streamers. And just popped in my head because smaller developers, right? You don't have enough budget to work with everybody, and you don't have the capacity to manage like hundreds of people in an Excel sheet. Honestly, do a hyper focus. So you find maybe, let's say, like 3 or 4 streamers that are like a really, 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 really good fit for your game. Okay, you probably want to find more because you need to reach out to them, and some of them will not answer. But the ones who answer, like those 4 or 5, you can kind of put them into this closed circuit and be like, they are the only ones who are getting to test and play our game on stream, even if it's a bit buggy. So you kind of turn them into your champions / public QA-ish testers, but that makes them feel special because I'm the only one who has the access. Also, another cool thing, and this is for Twitch drops. Loot Locker, check that out. They have a new thing where they streamlined how you can implement Twitch drops into your games, which means you can share rewards with players who watch those streams. Because it used to be very easy, they become very complicated, but they just launched a thing that makes it a lot easier for indie developers. So there's like no SDK implementation nonsense done. So you can check out Twitch drops now. That's viable because again, whitelisted streamers makes them feel special. Again, sorry, I kind of absolutely sidetracked off your question. But yeah, a few months before launch, 3, 4, when you have a solid demo that's kind of like bug free.
I had like a follow up. So say you're a developer, right? And you have both publisher, like you want to find, your goal is to find a publisher, but your goal is also get streamers to play. What order would you recommend? Because
okay, so that depends on your monetary situation, right? If you're looking for a publisher to get money, I would say get the publisher first because it's their job to do it. So they will do it, and they will have more connections and more manpower to help you do it. So yeah, I advise get a publisher first. However, if it's easier for you to get some streamers or influencers or YouTubers, or you say you have like some connections or some of your friends, and you get a few of them to cover it, and then just pitching to publisher, it just adds bonus points for us. When we look at the deck, and be like, oh, okay, he already like did some basic outreach, and they got some coverage. It's kind of cool, but it only if you already announced your game. Because if you didn't announce your game and you're starting to pitch to publisher, don't do anything because we want it unannounced because, well, Xbox is not here. Then when we're talking to platforms on your behalf, whether it's Xbox, PlayStation, GOG, Epic, or remember Discord store, they want that exclusivity. They want that virality. They're like, oh, this is a new game. It was never part of any showcases or anything. Nobody knows anything about it. You can get a way higher chance to secure like some funding or deal or support compared to if it's announced. Unless you announce it and it's like blew up and you're like, oh, we have 150,000 wish lists in like 2 weeks, then they will be lining up to give you money. So if you already announced the game, yeah, you can do some small outreach, but ideally I would suggest approach a publisher first because they'll just be able to help you out a lot more then.
Okay, so let's flip the script a bit. So, what is your advice for small streamers trying to find games in development and you want to showcase them to help them spread the word?
So I can't put the Excel file sheet on here, but it's actually pretty easy. Depending on what type of games you like, right? You can go on your Steam and see which ones already have Steam pages, or you go and check on social media, and then you can just DM them, like DM or email, or go to their Discord. So it kind of falls back a little bit on you to do the research of what type of games you want to work with, and then you can reach out to them, or you can just go over there and talk to the developers because they all will love this. Like if a streamer approaches you and be like, "Hey, your games looks really cool. Like, will I be able to stream it, or can I do like an early preview or help you, test it out?" That they will be more than happy. Like 99% of the times they will be very, very happy with it. But it's mostly you can just do some basic outreach and like online events like this. They help a lot. But mostly you need to find their communities. They're pretty open. Just look at like Blue Sky or X, Discord, Reddit, Facebook groups, depending which region you're from.